Is the seat taken? Sorry, Clerk. Sorry. That's not bad. Here's our city clerk. Would you rather sit down?
Hi, nice to meet you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge and thank our solo guitarist, Dennis Ryman, for providing the entertainment just as we got started here. Thank you for attending this evening. I'm Dan Furtado, Vice Mayor of the city, and it's my pleasure to be the first person to welcome you here this evening officially. We're going to begin our program with the presentation of colors by the Del Mar Marine Corps Junior ROTC Color Guard. That will be followed immediately by the national anthem, likewise from the well-known band of Del Mar High School, and that will be followed then by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mr. Jim Free, the Chairman Emeritus of the Campbell Veterans Memorial Foundation and a Vietnam veteran. So, Jim, would you please join us on the stage? Requested, please stand.
Down and march.
Freeze and colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I guess I'm here to lead you all to the pledge today. And I have to say, what an august group of people we have here tonight. And it's an honor and a pleasure to lead you in the pledge. So if you would follow me, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here, colors. Ready to cut? Forward. March.
Please be seated. I'd like to invite my fellow council members to please join me on stage.
not yet had a chance to meet, my name is Terry Hines. I'm a council member, and I represent District 1 since 2024. I'd like to thank and call out a few dignitaries who are with us this evening. Because of the number of honored guests we will be recognizing, I ask that you please hold your applause until the end. Campbell City Council member, Campbell Chamber of Commerce Executive Director Ken Johnson, Downtown Campbell Business Association President Amy Taylor, Campbell Commissioners, Park and Recreation Commissioner Shirley Lawfer, Planning Commissioner Matt Congar, Planning Commissioner Al Zisner, Park and Recs Commissioner Sherry Doers, Campbell Union High School District Board of Directors Board President Elizabeth Halliday, Campbell Union School District Governing Trustee Chris Miller, Fremont Union High School District Board of Trustee Pat Capio Aguilar, and I have 2 grandchildren there. Cupertino Union School District Board of Education Trustee Sylvia Leong, and Trustee Ava Chiao. San Jose Evergreen Community College District Board of Trustees Karen Martinez, Santa Clara Valley Open Space Authority Board of Directors Director Kathy Sutherland. Please give a round of applause for these honored guests. And now I will turn things over to the Honorable Council Member Elliot Scazola for additional recognition.
Thank you, Terry. All right, so my name is Councilmember Elliot Scazola. I represent District 4 since 2022, and I would also like to honor some of the great people that are here today, beginning with City of Los Altos Vice Mayor Lisa Flagor. Next up, we have City of Milpitas Mayor Mayor Carmen Montano and Council Member William Lamb. City of San Jose Council Member Michael Mulcahy. City of Santa Clara Mayor Lisa Gilmore. City of Sunnyvale Council Member Murali Srinivasan. Town of Las Gatas Vice Mayor Rob Moore. Santa Clara County Library District County Librarian Jennifer Weeks. Santa Clara Valley Water District Board of Directors Director Jim Bell. And we also have West Valley Mission Community College Board of Trustees Trustee Adrian Gray. Please give a large I'd like to introduce my fellow council member, Ann Bybee.
Thank you, Elliot. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Ann Bybee, and I've been representing Campbell's District 5 since 2018. I also served as the mayor of Campbell in 2023. I would like to thank and recognize the following dignitaries who are with us this evening. From the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors, representing Supervisor Otto Lee, his Deputy Chief of Staff, Michelle Paleo Osorio, Supervisor Ellenberg's Community Relations Aide, Victor Santiago, Supervisor Betty Duong. From the Santa Clara County Fire Department, Assistant Fire Chief Dennis Lawley, Deputy Fire Chief Mark Shimati, Assistant Fire Chief Hector Estrada, Assistant Fire Chief Art Tomasetti. From Senator Josh Becker's office, we have his district representative Alex Kobayashi. From Senator Dave Cortez's office, we have his district representative Mario Lopez. And from Assembly Patrick Aaron's office, Field Representative Khalil El Khatib. From Congressman Sam Ricardo's office is the Staff Assistant Gisela Corona Perez. And former electeds from Campbell are former Campbell Mayor Paul Resnikoff, former Campbell Mayor Susan Landry, And I also want to recognize our former Campbell Mayor, Jason Baker, who was also introduced, but he was also a mayor in the city. And former Santa Clara County Supervisor, Rod Diridon Sr. And I'd also like to recognize Supervisor or Board President Otto Lee, who is in the audience as well. And so please, let's all give them a round of applause. And now I'd like to return the microphone to Council or Vice Mayor Furtado to continue with the evening's program.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure now to introduce Mayor Sergio Lopez. Sergio grew up in this area of Campbell, attended local schools. He then received a full scholarship to Yale University, and he holds a master's degree from the Duke University School of Divinity. He's also working on additional degrees from the University of California at Berkeley, as well as UCLA. Mayor Lopez was elected to the City Council originally in 2020 and was re-elected in 2024. He is the first Latino mayor of the city of Campbell. And in addition to serving as mayor of the city, he is the chair of the board of directors of the Valley Transportation Authority, and also a member of several other boards and commissions and committees, including being a member of the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. So it's my pleasure to introduce Mayor Sergio Lopez.
Thank you so much. I'm so blessed and honored by all of your presence here tonight. It's deeply meaningful. And that's why I want to start with what I think is the most important thing, and just my deep and sincere appreciation for each and every one of you who are here tonight. So thank you so much. Please, a round of applause for each and every one of you here. My goal for this evening, if I may humbly, is that I hope that you will leave here feeling a little bit lighter than when you came in, a little bit more hopeful. I hope it's a blessing to see so many wonderful conversations, connections being made by so many civic leaders and people who care so deeply about their community. And I hope you'll continue the conversation over the appetizers and food. And while I'm up here, I also want to start by thanking the amazing Campbell City staff who worked on this, Jose, Diana, Angelique, Lauren, and many, many more who put all this together and made tonight possible. So thank you. And the reason why I also want to start with this, and by really recognizing and honoring each and every one of you here in the audience, is that we can't do, I certainly can't do, I'll speak for myself, what I do as mayor without deep and meaningful partnership with each and every one of you who is here tonight. And each and every one of you who is here has been part of my story. And it's a story that is not yet written, that started before I was here, that will continue after I'm here. And so that's really the question I started with trying to answer. What does it say to the city? And what I really wanted to talk about was the future of Campbell. And in my attempt to tell this story, I came up with three attempts, and you can tell me what you think of them. But this is something, I have the honor of serving this year as mayor. After this year, the honor will go to someone else, and I'll be one in a succession of line of mayors going back to the founding of our town. It's something that it's not that I carry with me every day, but in many ways, the work of running the city, of engaging with community, of everything that we do, I think is deeply meaningful, creative, even spiritual work that I've been doing in some way, shape, or form, I think, as long as I can remember. And I think that's part of, at least the meaning that I've found in this, is that this is part of the charge that we carry, all of us, as American citizens. And I use that term citizen because it's the highest honor title that I hold. It's something that doesn't depend on documentation or where you come from, where you're born, or the color of your skin. And it is both a blessing and it's a burden, because it means that each of us anew have to forge that meaning for ourselves. And so with that attempt to say, what is the state of our city? What is the meaning of this story that we are engaged in telling ourselves? Here's one attempt. This is our mission statement, and it is due to the leadership of City Manager Brian Leventhal, a long process in which we're engaged. And I'm proud of this. I think it's a very good mission statement. It's a big, I think it captures very succinctly, or tries to, what I think is so magical if you spend any amount of time in Campbell. Whether you live here, you have a business here, you work here, you play here, bring your kids to school, or just go to our many beautiful businesses and restaurants downtown. And so what I think is so special about this is that it captures the small town feel, the history, the charm, but also pronounces that we're not afraid to step into the future. And that's what really led me to think about the theme tonight of the future of Campbell. So this is one attempt, but a mission statement can't capture everything. There's much more. And so here's another attempt. In the beginning, there was a lot of land and fields and orchards. And William M. Harrison begat Benjamin Harrison, and so on and so on. And that's a version of the story. And that story is maybe, if mission statement maybe is too small to capture everything, maybe that's too big, maybe that's too expansive, and we needed to narrow it down a little. But as I was reflecting on the history of Campbell and how we got here, it made me reflect on the way that whenever we walk through a space, I certainly feel that the weight of history is sitting with us and is present and is alive. And so what you're looking at here is what used to be Campbell High School. It is now this community center. And I thought that is such a beautiful encapsulation of how the way that we keep and honor and preserve our history and the deeper meaning at the heart of the history. I don't just mean facts and figures and dates and buildings, but the reason why history comes alive is through not being afraid. It might sound like a paradox, but not being afraid of the future, not being afraid of dynamism, not being afraid of change. And I thought this building in which we're all in, Orange City Banquet Hall, which is part of what used to be the Campbell High School, is such a beautiful encapsulation of that, because we hold on to the physical walls of the building, but we keep the spirit of it alive. And just about a week or two ago, I was blessed to be here along with many of the people in this room today with about 500 high school students who were engaging with the deep issues of the day. And they asked me questions. They asked questions that challenged me, that made me think, that called upon me to do better, all of us, city staff as well. And I thought, what a beautiful encapsulation. This space may no longer physically be a high school, but the spirit of these people who came to Campbell saw the need for a high school and founded that and said, we're going to build this, not for us, but for the next generation. That spirit is kept alive in these walls that we're gathered in tonight. And that I believe is what we're doing here. And if you go far enough, I come along, and I was fortunate enough to be a part of that story of Campbell that is still being written. I grew up in Campbell schools. I was blessed to have two incredible parents who braved the unknown to cross the continent and immigrate here, like so many of the people in this room, who said, I'm not going to let the circumstances of my past define my future, or the future of my children, or their children. And who came here with a lot of unknowns and a lot of uncertainty to forge a new story. And I owe everything to that. I also owe everything to the Campbell teachers who encourage that maybe slightly awkward but curious child and that energy. And instead of saying, quiet down, or I don't have time for your answers, would actually take the time to basically overtime, although teachers don't get paid for that, but before school, after school, during breaks, to read with me and answer my questions and encourage that level of learning. And so that brings me back to where we started today, because as long as I can remember, I've been engaged in that act of storytelling, of asking questions, of figuring out what's my story? What's the story of us? What's the story of our community? And where are we going? And that is the single biggest thing that I carry with me each and every day as mayor of this beautiful city that I'm proud and honored to call my home. And I'm going to try to tell another story where I think we are today. It's the story that is dynamic and exciting, and I think shows how we're stepping in the future and honoring our history and our past and our heritage. It may seem by a paradox, but my hope is by the end of this, you'll be convinced that it's not, by not being afraid of that change and not being afraid to step boldly and lead into the future. And that is a story of where we are and where we're going as a city. And so we get to this story. And this is one that since I first came on the council in 2020, I've been honored to be a part of. When I was chosen by the residents of this town I grew up in. And so I'll go through some figures, but I encourage you to keep that question with you of what is the story we're telling, how do we make the past come alive and step in the future. And so this is part of the story that has engaged a lot of time for us and many other public agencies, is we've been feeling the stress of financial pressures, softening sales tax revenue. But what I'm proud to say is that because of those who came before me, both previous mayors, previous councils, during and before my time on this council, we're doing pretty well, relatively speaking. And what you saw on here, what we see on here is that there's a fairly close match, I think, between revenues and expenses, but there's some shortfall and a little bit of a structural shortfall. I think of that 3.75 million, about 1 to 2 million, roughly speaking, is what I would define as a structural gap that we need to address. And so the voters, in their wisdom, last year passed what's known as Measure K. And you'll be familiar with this if you live in Campbell, but this was a sales tax measure that is projected, when it kicks in, to bring in about $7 million, again, roughly speaking, in revenue each year. And so what that's going to allow us to do is to plan for the future and continue to build that up. And so I thank our staff for the foresight in pushing that, getting that across the finish line. Another way that we're planning for the future and for future generations, and one with which you'll be familiar if you live in Campbell or if you ever drive through, is with what we're doing with Measure O. And this again was another ballot initiative that passed back in 2018, about a $50 million bond measure that generated revenue to renovate our library and to build a new police station. And so what we're looking at here is library. And this is what the final product will look like. And again, if you drive through our downtown, you'll see it. It looks very close to what's on this image up here. And I invite you all in mid-October to come out to the official groundbreaking of our beautiful new space. And it's something I've been reflecting on that's particularly meaningful for me because I grew up going to the original library. What I didn't know, I found out later when I was on the council, is that it was the oldest library in the county system to not have been renovated since it was first built, going back to the 1960s. So it was in need of some TLC and some upkeep, and I think the voters were investing in protecting it for future generations. And I love the discussions when we were going back to around when I first came on the council about how could we envision a space that would be there for future generations? How could we be more dynamic? And one of the strategies and the conversations that we had was let's be more flexible with some of the space so that as needs evolve, as technology evolves and changes and shifts, we can actually adapt and not be locked into one particular setup. And so we'll have a vision when it opens, and you'll see space for technology and co-working and event space, but there will also be the flexibility to adapt and go into the future. So I next want to talk about public safety, and this is one, I think, something that you'll know if you live in Campbell, and for our guests who are coming from outside of Campbell, I'm proud to share with you, we are one of the cities that has our own police department. And as long as I've been growing up, I think this is one of the things that truly sets Campbell apart because you really have that community policing model where you get to know the officers who protect and serve our streets. And so it means that when we invest in some, well, I'll get to the building in a second, but I do want to highlight, going back for many decades, Campbell has been a leader in the field of technology and public safety. And we were one of the first to adopt body-worn cameras. Right now, what you may have seen in the news just in the past couple of days is that our police officers now have the ability, using AI in real time, to have conversations with someone in an entirely different language, and the AI tool that they wear will translate for them in real time. So you can have a conversation. If you grew up watching Star Trek, it feels like the future is here. And we actually have received national media attention for that. And it's because of the foresight of our police chief, police leadership, and many others, as well as the council, who has invested in this technology over time. And I think this also speaks to the secret sauce of what makes Campbell special, because while it's a challenging environment nationally for many police departments, people know that when they come here, there is that community connection, that there's something special about the city of Campbell when people come here to serve. So I believe that continuing to make these investments is a demonstration of that. We also, I'll go back, I do want to highlight another first, Drone's first responder program. We're the first in the nation to receive an FAA waiver to allow remote use of the drones, and this is something that has vastly increased service times and allowed police to respond much more flexibly and rapidly in real time. So our department continues to innovate and find those opportunities for stepping in the future. And so this brings us to Measure O in the new police building. And this is the construction. It's come, for those who were around when the initial conversation started, maybe it's felt like a long time coming. I think it's remarkable now to see back, look at the progress and see nearly finished. This is what the finished police station will look like. And I look forward to the groundbreaking for this following the library later on. The big focus has been economic development for us as well. And Campbell, especially if you're visiting, or you might guess this just from visiting our downtown, the vast majority of our businesses are smaller businesses, mom and pop, restaurants or shops or owners. And I thank all the small business owners who are here in the audience today. Thank you so much for what you do, because it really sets Campbell apart. And I've been blessed by the many conversations that I've had today and since I came on the council for what we can do to serve you better. It's been a big focus. So you've been here at previous State of the Cities. You've heard a little bit about our economic development strategy and what we've done to get to this point. And just to briefly recap leading up to this year, around the time when I came on council, the city was engaged in looking at a new economic development strategy. And I was one of two people, along with now former Mayor Susan Landry, to serve as the council liaison to the committee that made up. And thank you for the small business owners. Many of you who are in this room today are community partners who are part of that process, all giving valued feedback and input that we then took and put into our economic development strategy. And I'm so excited that now this year, I love embarrassing calling him out at events, but we now have an economic development manager to be here full time, literally walking the beat, going businesses downtown, who has come up with this newsletter that we use on council to keep more informed and that businesses can use to get the information that they need. But I think what this really points to is the way that the city prioritizes and values our small business. And this work is not done. This is something that it is still a work in progress. I look forward to seeing what will continue to come out of this work as well as we try to do everything we can to support our local businesses. And I also want to point to what's on the horizon a little bit and some of the work that remains to be done. One of the reasons why it was so key to have that economic development manager position in place with this particular timing is because we do have these mega events that as a region, almost unique in the United States, that we'll have to look forward to next year. And for those of you who and enjoy soccer or football, it'll be a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun events, but for those of us on the public agency side, there's a lot of stress and conversations that come along with that about how to make this work for our communities. And there's opportunities that come along with that, and we'll have conversations, I'm sure, about how to take advantage of that and support our local businesses and get some of those folks to come into Campbell. But it's something I'll talk about later in my position as chair of the Valley Transportation Authority. It will also require crucial partnerships for transportation with other public agencies, with other cities, to make sure that we have the cohesion to offer a world-class, first-class experience. And so I also want to talk about climate. Campbell, since its founding, and one of the ways that I could have started this story and asked some of the folks, if you're not familiar with this, ask some of the folks who live in Campbell, because we've all heard this story, but the story of Teddy Roosevelt's visit to Campbell and the tree and what that symbolizes and the history of that. So I'll leave that for the conversations after. But it speaks to the fact that conservation and environmentalism has been a long-held value for the city of Campbell. And I think this is another way in which, really since that was before the formal incorporation of our city, that has been a part of the DNA and lifeblood of our communities. And that's part of how we plan for the future, to make sure that we are preserving and stewarding this planet that gives us our home, the air we breathe, and keeps us alive. And so, again, this is a little bit of a recap from previous years, but I'm very excited that the council and city staff have invested in a climate action adaptation plan, the first ever for the city of Campbell. And it's something that is now very much in progress. We've had conversations about this year, and in the past year, looking at first setting the baseline. Where are we? What are the facts and the data to help us make informed decisions about things like health impacts and climate impacts? And so we'll be having more conversations over the coming year about what we start doing to implement this, and looking at some of the trade-offs and discussions to prioritize different strategies. So very much something that will continue to be worked on. I also want to highlight the collaborative approach we've taken to electrification and planning for the future in the city of Campbell. And while I think other jurisdictions or other cities have sometimes had contentious topics about this, our staff has done this in a way that works with folks who are putting out information and encouraging the use and in checking in with our staff. I hear that the program has been smooth, that whether it's renovations or new construction, that it's incorporated in how folks are thinking about this. And this is part of planning for the future and then next generation as the grid gets cleaner and as there are discussions at the state level and at the federal level about what the grid looks like for the future, that we're poised and equipped to take advantage of that, and in the long run, save people money by transitioning to our climate future. And so I do want to take a second to speak. One of the other hats that I have the honor of wearing is as chair of the Valley Transportation Authority, and I'm proud to be the first chair since 2003 from the city of Campbell. And part of we're at a pivotal moment, really, in the history of transportation in the Valley. I'm deeply honored. You heard that we have Rod Diridon, a senior in attendance former supervisor, who really stewarded the creation of this independent transit agency. And so it really, talk about feeling the weight of history when you serve, and the importance of carrying that on in the future. And the thing that's taken up most of my time in the past few months, if you've talked to me, has been what is called SB 63. And this is a regional transit measure that was created at first for 3 counties to really save public transportation agencies from some pretty dire fates, and these are agencies like BART and Muni. And as I said, that was originally 3 counties, San Francisco, Alameda, and Contra Costa County. And so over discussions over the past few months, what we did was actually engage with the authors and say, hey, how can we make this work for Santa Clara County and for our needs? And so I'm proud to say that in the final version of the legislation, we went from roughly 80+% of the funds raised in Santa Clara County that would have come back to our county to now in the final version of the legislation, 94.75%, which represents tens of millions of dollars that will come back, more that will come back to Santa Clara County. And I'm proud to say, report that at the August board meeting just earlier this month, the VTA board of directors voted unanimously to have Santa Clara County opt in, and now with San Mateo County just before us, that now makes that a much larger 5-county measure. And so you'll see this, you'll hear more about this next year in 2026. But I think really a historic moment and opportunity for the future of transportation in our county, and something that we're really looking at, how do we take the opportunity to not just do more of the same, but really transform and have that accountability and have the kind of innovation that our residents expect and deserve of us with our public transit system. And so I look forward to engaging in many more conversations about this. I also want to highlight what we're doing in the area of homelessness. And this goes back to that first slide I showed and the need for collaboration, all the regional partners. And I need a much bigger slide to really show all the people who are pitching in on this, both in this audience today and just more broadly on the issue. The many residents concerned, empathetic, who have written to me to express their concerns about what they see happening out on the streets. And so the way I would characterize our general attitude in Campbell is that we've gone from saying, hey, we're a small city, these issues are too large for us, to saying, no, we're a small city and it's important for us to engage, but it means that we have to be creative and innovative about the approach that we take. And so I was excited to engage in conversations around when I first came on council with Destination Home, which is a local nonprofit, and helped secure a $300,000 grant that earlier this year actually resulted in now a full-time position being created to work full-time with the unhoused and to offer services and to be that liaison with county agencies, with other cities, and work to better serve our residents and neighbors who are unhoused. Part of what we've also done, the council in the past year, out of discussions that came out around this approach, is to look at an innovative voucher program. And I want to recognize our neighbors in Los Gatos who gave me this idea, something I brought to staff and that staff presented to the council. And that then we did our own research and said, how can we make this work for Campbell? It'll look slightly different, looked at the data to see who can we serve. And for example, found that we, as we've done more of this research, just one statistic, we have a higher percentage of women, we have a higher percentage of people of color, a higher percentage of survivors of domestic violence relative to the rest of the county. And so we need to make sure that we're tailoring any discussions that we have and any potential approaches appropriately to what we're doing. And so the voucher program was one early idea that came out of that. There are other discussions that the council had this year, just in the past couple months, around continuing this approach, encapsulated by a memorandum of understanding that Campbell took the lead and collaborated with our 5 other West Valley cities, which are Los Gatos, Saratoga, Cupertino, and Monte Sereno. All of them signed on and said, we're going to look at a regional approach to this issue. We recognize that there's a service gap in between San Jose and up to Palo Alto, really in the West Valley. And if we want to make sure that we're best serving our neighbors who are out on the streets, we need to really make sure that we consider services that are appropriate to the needs here. And so that's where some of this research is going. Again, it's something that's still very much a work in progress, but I look forward and invite, because I know that this is something the community cares deeply about, invite you to continue to engage on. I'm also incredibly proud and excited about the approach that we've taken on housing since I first came on council, with a lot of exciting progress. So again, a recap from a few years ago, like other cities, we underwent our housing element process. I'm proud to say we were one of the first to get certified by the state as being compliant. Really built into the DNA of the department now, and I commend our staff for the deep level of work on this, is a new approach to stakeholder engagement and having these conversations, whether it's with nonprofits, with developers and housing providers in that community, or with people who are being impacted, or with our faith community, and saying we're going to work with you to figure out what the needs are, just have discussions, and just generate those ideas that we all depend on, because no one has a premium on good ideas. We've strengthened our tenant protections. We're iterating on housing impact fees to start to build up towards a housing fund. And just last night, we had a deeply engaging discussion. Some folks here in the audience were there on housing strategies for the city of Campbell. And I left feeling that energy and that sense of hope for all the different ideas, certainly different perspectives. But I think I've been blessed to have a council that cares deeply about the issues and can talk about these different ideas with staff who's able to take the feedback and then have all of us be united and moving forward to ultimately addressing what is one of the biggest crises of our time, which is housing. And so a big part of the approach that cuts a few different areas has been cutting red tape. And this has included both making, both in the area of housing, to stick with that for a second. The vast majority of housing projects in the city of Campbell, I'm proud to report, now are ministerial or go up to the planning commission level or go up to the staff level. And what would have formerly taken up to 3 different hearings before 3 different bodies, in the case of the biggest project, in many cases, is now just 1 hearing before the city council. So that is, I think, an unprecedented amount of streamlining that we really want to tell this story that we're not afraid to step in the future and to try new things. We've also done this on the commercial development side, and I appreciate our planning commission who took the lead on refining our conditional use permits to make a lot of them more streamlined, make them buy right. And we're even experimenting now with self-certification for solar panels, where a resident of Campbell, and we've had roughly about 50 people make use of this, residents of Campbell can actually go online and self-certify and basically get the permits that they need. Another example that I want to point to is in the area of ADUs, and something that we've launched, and a number of different programs in the areas of ADUs and plan check. We actually have a site that you can go to now and get pre-approved designs, and using the plan check program, you can get approved for an ADU in as little as 4 days. One of the fastest times in the county, certainly for this kind of process, and something that we're deeply proud of and want you to spread the word for those folks who are here in the development community. We're also moving forward with programs for 100% affordable housing, and the first from the Santa Clara Methodist Foundation. And this is one where I'm proud that we engaged early on and had discussions with staff about saying, how can we best serve the needs of those who want to build affordable housing, 100% affordable projects, and get ideas that staff can then bring up and review and flesh out and eventually turn those into citywide strategies. So this is one, and I'm also proud to share that VTA is working on a 100% affordable housing project just down the street on Winchester. There's also a work in progress, and we continue to have discussions about how we can best make use of that. And so we've gone from having in just about the past few decades no new 100% affordable housing projects to now having 2 in the pipeline and having conversations about how can we continue the progress and the momentum. And so that brings me to a very special announcement that I'm excited to make tonight. You've heard what we've done, what we've got in the works, what's coming next. And so I want to leave you with one very exciting announcement to share now publicly, is that Campbell is now pro-housing certified by the state of California, HCD. And what this means is that the state of California is seeing that we put in the work, that we have the strategies, that we're committed to housing, and there are actual dollars that come attached to this. This gives us preference, extra points in the competition for limited and scarce funds, and so this is going to be a game changer for the city of Campbell and for our residents. To paraphrase Ben Franklin, we have a housing designation if you can keep it. And so the state actually requires us to continue the work and the progress and to show that we're doing that. So again, this story is not finished. I think we're on the horizon of seeing where we can go from this. And this really requires us to continue the work, but speaks to the dedication of staff council, the community, and really go in the same direction to say we're going to do our part to address the housing crisis. So again, I just wanted tonight with the story that we're telling. It's certainly not one that's finished. I thank and honor each and every one of you for being a part of my story. And I encourage you, as you're enjoying the food and the refreshments and having conversations tonight, talk to one another and think about what can I do to contribute and be a part of the story. So thank you all so much. You honor me with your presence, and deeply appreciate the chance to serve you. Thank you so much.